left office, we handed Crooked Joe the fastest economic recovery. It was the fastest recovery, think of this, economically, ever recorded. The stock market was at a record high. The price of gasoline was $2 and even less than that a gallon. Think of that. We had periods of time where it was $1.57, $1.87. How does that sound to you? But under $2 a gallon, the 30-year mortgage rate was at a record low, the lowest ever recorded, $2. Think of this, 2.65%. That's what your mortgage rates were. Now you can't get a mortgage. If you want to pay 8 or 9%, you still can't get them. And we had no inflation. We had no inflation. We had the greatest economy in history. This is, everybody said, this isn't me, this is everybody. We had the greatest, we had no inflation. Today, your inflation's so high, it doesn't matter. If you make money, it doesn't matter. It eats you alive. Inflation is what they call a country buster. You go back 200 years, 300 years to countries with inflation, they got busted. Ask Germany, how was inflation many, many years ago? It destroyed the country. It is a country buster. And we have record horrible inflation. And now it's getting worse. And now they think they're not going to be able to cut interest rates because it's getting worse. You don't hear that, and they don't talk about it. And the fake news, these people right over here, they don't want to talk about it, but it's getting worse. But then Biden came in and unleashed mayhem on our economy, just like he unleashed mayhem on our border. The border, there's never been anything like this, a border like this. There's never been anything in the world. There's never been a border like this in the history of the world. Using COVID as an excuse, Crooked Joe Biden launched the greatest confiscation of middle-class wealth in the history of our country. It's middle-class wealth. He confiscated it. In 3 years, Joe Biden and his party stole trillions of dollars from hardworking Americans and gave it their political, and he gave it all to their cronies in Washington, their heirs-to-be. He gave so much money away, and the Green New Scam, it's the worst scam in the history of our country. They spent $2 trillion, the Green New Scam, the greatest scam in history. They spent $2 trillion on their so-called American Rescue Plan, which wasn't rescuing this country. How is the rescue plan doing? Trillions of dollars wasted, which Obama's economic advisors called the original sin. They actually called it. His advisor said that was the original sin that led to rampant inflation. That's where it began. They spent another $1 trillion on their misnamed Inflation Reduction Act, and then they admitted it really wasn't meant to reduce inflation. They call it the Inflation Reduction Act. Remember when a certain senator said, "I'll approve it," and that was the end of his career? I won't tell you his name was Manchin. Oh, I'm sorry. No, that was the end of his career. He was popular. He was getting more and more popular. He started out not so popular for many years. Then he became popular because he was rejecting all of this madness. And then for some reason, he agreed to sign a couple of things that were not good, and it didn't work out too well. $1.2 trillion for their fake infrastructure. He had a package of infrastructure. You take a look at it, it's fake. It's fake and it's horrible. And then all of that money, again, going over to the Green New Scam. Joe Biden's economic plan is to make China rich and America poor. My economic plan is to make America richer than ever before, and that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. With your vote, we're going to save our economy, and we're going to bring our country back from hell. We have a country that's in hell. Look